Okay, good morning, all of you. I'm Renuka Kuber Kale.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. I'm a Renuka Kuber Kale, Assistant Professor in Shiv Chhatrapati College, Department of Commerce and Management Science. We are virtually gathered here for the national webinar on the topic Impact of COVID-19 on Indian Business. And for this session, we have an immense personality, former peer member for a NAC of our college, Honorable Dr. Debashish Sur Sir from University of Burdwan, West Bengal. I am very fortunate to introduce Dr. Debashish Sur Sir. Dr. Debashish Sur Sir is a professor at Department of Commerce of the University of Burdwan, West Bengal. He did his MCom gold medalist in 1990, MPhil topper in 1993, and PhD Human Resource Accounting in 2002 from the University of Burdwan itself. He obtained his BCom degree from the same university in 1988 and stood first in the first class. He has over 25 years of teaching experience, 12 years as a professor at the postgraduate level. He is the life member of the Indian Accounting Association and Indian Commerce Association. He is also an invited member of various academic bodies in different central and state universities in India. Dr. Sur has acted as a member of a NAC peer team and AICTE evaluation committee. He has also acted as an expert in NERO UGC for evaluating research projects in commerce and management. Professor Sur has so far contributed more than 100 papers in reputed professional and academic journals. He has 4 books in his to his credit. Under his supervision, 18 researchers and 21 scholars have completed their PhD and MPhil degrees respectively. Dr. Sur has attended many seminars and conferences in India and abroad, and also acted as a resource person in several national and international seminars. Professor Sur is in the editorial board of many national and international journals of reputed, including Ashes Journal of Business Management, London, UK. He is also acting as reviewer in many international publishing houses, namely Plato, Macmillan, Springer, Sage, Taylor and Francis, Emerald, etc. His areas of interest include financial statement analysis, corporate performance measurement, corporate financial management, and corporate risk management. It's very, while I did explaining to you the introduction session, Debashish sir, hats off to you that you are great achievement. Now I'm just requesting to Nitin Laikwad sir to continue the session.
So may I start?
Just
inaugural speech, sir.
Inaugural speech, sir. Just give me 1 minute.
Okay.
Good morning, one and all. Honorable Chief Guest, Professor Debashish Sur, Department of Commerce of Bardhaman University, West Bengal, principals, vice principals, colleagues, and my dear students. I am Nitin Krishnarao Gaikwad, to HOD of Department of Commerce and Management Science of Shiv Chhatrapati College. I present here to inaugural speech on one-day international webinar on impact of COVID-19 on business sectors. We all know that the Indian business sector have faced the challenges, problems before COVID-19, after COVID-19. For that purpose, the objective of this organize a such type of webinar to understand what are the challenges and opportunity before the business sector. I hope this webinar will be a knowledgeable and fruitful to you. Thank you very much. I request to Kuber ma'am to take the further charge.
Okay. Now I request to Dr. Debashish Sur sir, please continue with this session. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, madam. Thank you. So good morning to everyone present here. Respected Dr. R.P. Power, sir, Honorable Principal of MSP Mandal's Shiv Chhatrapati College, and other respected faculty members present here, and my dear students. Today, we have assembled here to make some discussion on the issue, impact of COVID-19 on Indian business sector. We all know that COVID-19 was first found in India in the last week of January 2020. That means we have already spent a period of more than 18 months. Lockdown started in India on 25th March 2020. We have already completed fourth phase of complete lockdown, and still we are in semi-lockdown phase. So there has been a tremendous impact of COVID-19 outbreak and subsequent lockdown on Indian economy as well as world economy. In this context, we can mention some information. We all know that the United States of America is the most powerful country in the world from economic point of view. In fact, USA is financially the strongest country in the world. In USA, in April 2020, about 15 to 17% employees lost their job. More than 2 crore people became jobless in the month of April 2020 in USA. Now, if we consider the India's situation, we find that the India's picture is more alarming. If we go through the report published by CMI, Center for Monitoring Indian Economy, we find that the unemployment rate, which was less than 7% in the mid-March 2020, became more than 27%, 27.11% in the first week of May 2020. It was about 29% in the urban areas and 26% in the rural areas. However, unemployment rate slightly decreased in the last week of May 2020. As per the report published by the CMI, on May 27, 2020, unemployment rate in India was 23.9%. In urban areas, it was 26.5%, and in rural areas, it was 20.1%. 2.9%. During this lockdown period, more than 14 crore people lost their job. They have become jobless during this lockdown period. So it has a severe effect on Indian business sector. It has a severe negative impact on Indian business sector. However, unemployment rate has declined significantly in the month of July 2020. As per the CMI report, unemployment rate in India in the month of July 2020 was 7.43%. It was 9.15% in the urban areas and 6.66% in the rural areas. Unemployment rate has declined significantly in the month of March 2021. In the month of March 2021, the unemployment rate has declined significantly. As per the CMI report, the unemployment rate in India in the month of March 2020 was 6.5%. And it was 7.27% in the urban areas and 6.15% in the rural areas. However, in the month of May 2020, due to the second phase of COVID-19, unemployment rate has again started to increase. As per the report published by CMI on 2nd May 2021, unemployment rate in India has become 8%, and it was 9.6% in the urban areas and 7.2% in the rural areas. Similarly, as per the report published by CMI on 4th June 2021, the unemployment rate in India is 12.6%. In June 2021, unemployment rate in India has become 12.6%. In urban areas, it is 15.3%, and in rural areas, it is 11.3%. That means in the month of May, unemployment rate in the month of May 2021, unemployment rate has again started to increase. And in June, it has increased again. So, and this is due to, we all know this is due to the second phase of COVID-19. But we can say that the data provided by the CMI may not reflect the true picture of the Indian business world. In fact, the actual scenario is more alarming. In this context, we can mention one study conducted by the Federation of Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry, FICCI. FICCI has conducted one study on the basis of 380 big companies across the sectors. Now let us consider the major findings of the study. Number one, this study reveals that there has been a tremendous uncertainty in the Indian business environment during this pandemic situation. COVID-19 is having deep impact on Indian businesses. Number two, this study also reveals that 72% of the sample companies have been placed in the category of very high level of risk. Another important outcome of this study is that 70% of the sample companies were expecting a degrowth. That means a negative growth in their sales turnover during the financial year 2020-21. So, as a result, we can say that the size of business or scale of operation has gone down significantly. In this context, we can mention the names of some significant companies like L&T, Tata Motors, Ultratech Cement, and many companies belonging to the FMCG sectors, including Hindustan Unilever, Nirma, even Maharatna Central Public Sector Enterprise, well, all have downsized their business operations during this pandemic situation. Another significant outcome of the study is that 61% of the sample companies have postponed their expansion program for a period of 6 months to 12 months. And 33% of the sample companies have postponed their expansion program for a period of more than 12 months. That means 61 plus 33, 94% of the sample companies have postponed their expansion program due to this COVID-19 outbreak and subsequent lockdown. Another notable outcome of the study is that 60% of the sample companies have postponed their fundraising plan for a period of 6 months to 12 months, and 25% of the sample companies have postponed their fundraising plan for a period of more than 1 year. That means 60 plus 25, 85% of the sample companies have postponed their fundraising plan due to this COVID-19 outbreak and subsequent lockdown. So on the basis of the outcomes derived from these studies, it can be said that India's business sector has been facing tremendous challenges emanated from COVID-19 outbreak and subsequent lockdown. Now let us consider some additional information in this respect. More than 6,600 Indian companies have legal linkages with companies in countries with a large number of confirmed COVID-19 cases. That means more than 6,600 Indian companies have legal linkages with those foreign companies which are situated in such countries where the outbreak of COVID-19 is severe. In this context, we can cite the example of China. We all know that there is a very close association between India and China in respect of international trade. And we also know that China is the world's largest exporter. It accounts for about 13% of the world exports. And China is the second largest importer in the world. Hello? Any problem? Hello? Am I audible?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
yes, sir.
Okay.
So please continue.
So China is the second largest importer in the world. It accounts for about 11% of the world's imports. China accounts for about 13% of the world exports. And out of these 13%, 5% comes to India. In fact, China contributes more than 14% of the India's total imports. More specifically, we can mention that 45% of the India's total imports come from China. 1/3, that means 33% of the India's total machinery imports come from China. 40% of the India's total organic chemical imports come from China. In case of fertilizer and automotive parts, this is 25%. This is 25%. 70% of the India's total pharmaceutical ingredients imports come from China. And in case of mobile phone, this is more than 90%. Even if we consider air services, airline services, we find the same picture. In fact, except Air India, other players, other companies in the airline sector in India, Indian airline sector, are taking their aircrafts on lease basis from Chinese players. So again, we can say that India's airline sector largely depends on China. So obviously, these industries have been highly affected by COVID-19 outbreak and subsequent lockdown. We all know that there is a close association between large-scale industries and micro, small, and medium enterprises. That means the MSME sectors. They are interdependent and interrelated. In fact, large-scale industries largely depend on the supply made by MSME sector, and MSME sector largely depends on the demand of the large-scale industry. So they are interrelated and interconnected. It is also to be noted that MSME sector contributes more than 30% of the India's GDP, and MSME sector generally follows a growth rate of at least 10% per annum. Important point regarding India's MSME sector is that 45% of the India's total exports are contributed by MSME sectors. So due to this COVID-19 outbreak and subsequent lockdown, both large-scale industries and MSME sectors have been severely affected. Now let us consider some important information regarding India's economy. As per the assessment made by the World Bank, in the month of April 2020, it was expected that India's growth rate would be 1.5% to 2.8% in the financial year 2020-21. Similarly, as per the assessment made by the United Nations in the month of April 2020, it was expected that India's growth rate would be 1.2% in the financial year 2020-21. However, as per the assessment made by the World Bank in the month of June 2020, it was expected that India's growth rate would be minus 3.2% in the financial year 2020-21. That means in the month of April, the estimation was that positive growth rate, positive plus 1.5% to 2.8%, but it became minus 3.2%. Assessment made by the same organization, World Bank, in the month of June 2020. That means with the passage of time, India's economy has been deteriorating. Similarly, as per the projection made by the International Monetary Fund, IMF, it was expected that India's GDP growth rate would be 1.9%. Actually, this projection was made in the month of April 2020. It was expected that the India's GDP growth rate would be 1.9% in the financial year 2020-21. However, as per the statement made by the RBI Governor, Mr. Shaktikant Das, in the month of June 2020, India was expecting a degrowth. That means a negative growth in its GDP in the financial year 2020-21. Similarly, as per the projection made by the International Monetary Fund in the month of June 2020, it was expected that India's GDP growth rate would be minus 1.5% in the financial year 2020-21. So these were expectation, these were anticipation, but we can say that the real picture is more alarming. The real situation during the financial year 2020-21 was more alarming. If we go through the report published by the National Statistical Office, NSO, under the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, Government of India, we find that the India's GDP growth rate in the first quarter of the financial year 2020-21 was minus 23.9%, whereas it was plus 5.2% in the first quarter of the financial year 2019-20. That means, as per NSO report, as per the report published by National Statistical Office, the GDP growth rate in the first quarter of the financial year 2020-21 was minus 23.9%, whereas it was plus 5.2% in the first quarter of the financial year 2019-20. So the situation was alarming in the first quarter of the previous financial year. That means the financial year 2020-21. The GDP growth rate in the third quarter of the financial year 2020-21 has become positive, and it was 0.4%. That means the GDP growth rate in the third quarter of the financial year 2020-21 was 0.4%. And in the fourth quarter, it was 1.6%. Overall, the India's GDP growth rate in the previous year, that means previous financial year, that means India's GDP growth rate in the financial year 2020-21 was minus 7.3%. So GDP growth rate was minus 7.3% in the financial year 2020-21. Very recently, Monetary Policy Committee of the Reserve Bank of India has published one estimation report, one report. As per the report published by the Monetary Policy Committee of RBI, it is expected that India's GDP growth rate would be 9.5% in the current financial year. That means the financial year 2021-22. But we can say that still we are in second phase of COVID-19, and we are still in semi-lockdown phase, and we are not in a position to predict what will happen in near future. So this estimation may not be correct in near future. So we can say that on the basis of this analysis, it can be said that India's economy has been facing immense threats emanated from COVID-19 outbreak and subsequent lockdown. And as a result, India's business sector has been facing tremendous challenges stemmed from such COVID-19 outbreak and subsequent lockdown. Now, what are the reasons behind it? What are the reasons? We all know that there are four basic components of GDP: personal consumption expenditure, business investment, government spending, and net export. And we also know that personal consumption expenditure is the biggest components of GDP. On an average, personal consumption expenditure contributes about 60% of the India's GDP. Now, if we consider all these four components one by one in the context of the present day situation, we can understand the reasons more clearly. Now, if we consider net export, that means excess of export over import, we find that there has been a drastic fall in both exports and imports activities in India during this pandemic situation. Now, if we consider the data relating to the month of March 2020, we find that out of 30 major items, both exports and imports of 29 items has reduced significantly in the month of March 2020 as compared to the figures of December 2019. The situation has improved slightly in the month of May 2020. Out of 30 major items, both exports and imports of 26 items have reduced significantly in the month of May 2020 as compared to the figures of March 2020. On an average, India's exports have reduced by about 37% in the month of May 2020 as compared to the figures of March 2020. In case of imports, these figures vary from 45% to 98%. Machinery imports have reduced by about 45%. Gold and jewelry imports have declined by 98%, and even crude oil imports has reduced by about 70%. So there has been a drastic fall in both exports and imports activities in India during the financial year 2020-21. And now, if we consider government spending, we find that the government is paying salary only. And in many cases, salary has been curtailed. There is no new business investment during this pandemic situation. So obviously, India's GDP will almost entirely depend on personal consumption expenditure in near future. India's GDP will almost entirely depend on personal consumption expenditure in near future. As per the principles followed in economics, if personal consumption expenditure goes up, real sector growth rate increases. If real sector growth rate increases, employment steps up. If employment increases, income increases. If income increases, demand goes up. That means purchasing power or spending power goes up. However, in the present day situation, we find exactly the reverse picture. There has been a drastic fall in personal consumption expenditure during this pandemic situation. Personal consumption expenditure has reduced by about 20% in the month of March 2020 as compared to the figures of December 2019. In subsequent months, it has reduced more. As a result, real sector growth rate has declined, employment has reduced, income has reduced, and ultimately demand has gone down. Internal supply chain as well as global supply chain have been severely disrupted during this pandemic situation. Now, what is the way out? What are the measures that are to be taken in order to resolve this problem? What are the measures that are to be adopted in order to combat this situation arising out of COVID-19 outbreak and subsequent lockdown, we can say that we are not in a position to make final conclusion. We are not in a position to make final prescription. Even we are not in a position to identify the exact measures which are to be adopted in order to combat this situation. But we can mention at least two major points, at least two major measures which may be adopted in order to combat the situation arising out of COVID-19 outbreak and subsequent lockdown, and in order to mitigate the risk associated with the Indian business enterprises. Number one is that public distribution system should be efficiently managed. Now, question may arise whether there is any relationship between public distribution system and Indian businesses. I must say that yes, there is a positive relationship between the strength of public distribution system and the success of Indian businesses. Because we all can say that if public distribution system runs properly in India, then obviously people will get adequate amount of food grains as well as other essential commodities. And if it happens, then people will be in a position to spend some money for acquisition of non-essential commodities also. As a result, personal consumption expenditure will go up and ultimately demand will go up. So on the basis of this, it can be said that there is a positive relationship between the strength of public distribution system and the success of Indian businesses. However, public distribution system is not running properly in India due to certain causes. Now in this context, we can mention at least two major points. The first one is lack of information. Government does not have adequate information about the needs of the people, especially people living in the rural areas, people living in the remote villages. As a result, proper distribution of essential commodities cannot be made. Unequal distribution of essential commodities will arise. Secondly, high level of corruption is involved in the public distribution system in India, because huge amount of fund is involved in the public distribution system. Huge amount of fund is involved in the public distribution system. That's why high level of corruption is involved in the public distribution system. This corruption starts with the acquisition of food grains and other essential commodities, and it is also present in the distribution system. So huge amount of fund is involved in this public distribution system. In this context, we can mention at least 2 points. The first one is about 80 crore people are the beneficiaries of public distribution system in India. That means 58% of the people in India depend on public distribution system. This is number one. Number two, for the financial year 2020-21, fund allocated by the government for providing food subsidy is rupees 1,15,570 crore. Rupees 1,15,570 crore, which is about 3.8% of the total estimated expenditure as per budget estimates relating to the fiscal year 2020-21. So a huge amount of fund is involved in the public distribution system. That's why high level of corruption is involved in the public distribution system. So if we minimize these odds, that means if we remove this problem, then only public distribution system can be effectively run public distribution system can be efficiently managed. Secondly, we can mention Abhijit Binayak Bandyopadhyay, Nobel laureate, Professor Abhijit Binayak Bandyopadhyay. According to the prescription of Professor Abhijit Binayak Bandyopadhyay, print currency notes and distribute these currency notes among people, among needy people, without considering the issues associated with inflation. It has already been done successfully in USA, Japan, and even in Australia. According to his argument, if people get money, consumption expenditure will go up. As a result, real sector growth rate will increase, employment will step up, income will increase, and ultimately demand will go up. So the prescription of Professor Abhijit Binayak Bandyopadhyay can be adopted in order to combat the situation arising out of COVID-19 outbreak and subsequent lockdown. In this context, we can mention the names of some significant personalities also. We can mention the name of famous economics, Professor Raghuram Rajan, ex-governor of RBI. We can mention the name of famous Marxist economics, Professor Prabhat Pattanayak of JNU. We can mention the name of CII President, Mr. Uday Kotak. So we can say that eminent personalities from different corners, eminent personalities from different fields, even eminent personalities belonging to the different ideologies have made the same recommendations. They have given the same opinion as prescribed by Professor Abhijit Binayak Bandyopadhyay. So the prescription of Professor Abhijit Binayak can be implemented in order to combat the situation arising out of COVID-19 outbreak and subsequent lockdown in the Indian economy as well as Indian business sector. But it has a negative side also. Presently, the confidence level of people in India has gone down significantly. In fact, people are not in a position to predict what will happen in near future. That's why their confidence level has gone down significantly. In this context, we can mention one survey conducted by RBI in the month of May 2020. As per the RBI survey report, the future expectation index, which measures consumers' perception of the economy, was 97.9. In fact, a score below 100 indicates consumers' pessimism. As the future expectation index in India in the month of May 2020 was 97.9, which is below 100. It indicates that the consumers were pessimist. They were not optimist. Similar survey has been conducted by RBI from time to time. As per the RBI survey report, the future expectation index in the month of January 2021 was 117.1. That means in the month of January 2021, the situation has improved slightly. The confidence level of people has improved slightly in the month of January 2021. However, it has again started to decline in the month of March 2021. As per the survey report published by RBI, the future expectation index in India in the month of March 2021 was 108.8. In January, it was 117.1. And in March 2021, it has become 108.8. And in May 2021, and this report has been published on 4th June of 2021. As per the survey report published by RBI on 4th June 2021, the future expectation index in India in the month of May 2021 is 96.4%. 96.4%. So future expectation index in the month of May 2021 is 96.4%. 96.4, sorry, not percent. 96.4. Whereas it was 97.9 in the month of May 2020. That means on the basis of this, it can be said that presently the confidence level of people in India has not improved. If the confidence level of people does not improve, people will not spend money received by them for their present consumption. In that case, people will save money for consumption. And if it happens, then money will not come back to the market presently. That means personal consumption expenditure will not go up, demand will not go up. So this is the negative side of the prescription of Professor Avijit Vinayak Bandyopadhyay. So in our discussion, we have been mentioning only the negative points, only the odds. Now we have to mention one positive side, one hope. So let us consider one silver lining behind the corona cloud. We all know that China is the largest exporter in the world. We have already mentioned that China is the largest exporter in the world. It accounts for about 13% of the world export. And China is the second largest importer after USA in the world. It accounts for about 11% of the world's imports. So China plays a very vital role in international business. Now it is expected that China may not be able to retain its shares in international market in near future due to this COVID-19 outbreak. Because we all know that COVID-19 was first reported in China on 17th November 2019, and it has a severe negative impact on Chinese economy. Even from the perception of the people, it can be said that it has a negative impact on China. The first outbreak of COVID-19 in China has definitely hampered the goodwill and reputation of China in the world market. As a result, China may not be able to retain its shares in the international market in near future. And if it happens, that means if China is not able to retain its dominance over the international market, foreign capital may come to India. That means if China fails to retain its dominance over the international market, foreign capital may come to India. Why? Because India enjoys certain competitive advantages. India enjoys certain benefits. In this context, we can mention at least 3 points. The first one is India enjoys demographic advantages. About 64% of the people in India belong to the age group of 20 to 35 years. So India has sufficient cheap labor force. Secondly, India has adequate number of skilled IT personnel. And thirdly, political stability in India is much higher as compared to the other neighboring countries. In this context, we can also mention World Bank's Ease of Doing Business ranking. As per the World Bank's Ease of Doing Business ranking, India captured 142nd rank in the year 2014 out of 190 countries in the world. In 2015, India's rank was 131. In both 2016 and 17, India's rank was 130. In 2018, India made significant improvement in its status and reached 77th rank. And in October 2019, that means just before outbreak of COVID-19, India's rank was 63. So with the passage of time, India's situation has been improving as per World Bank's Ease of Doing Business ranking. India's position has been improving in respect of Ease of Doing Business ranking, in respect of World Bank's Ease of Doing Business ranking. So, if it happens, that means if the situation improves, if again we can say that if China fails to retain its dominance over international market, foreign capital may come to India. And if foreign capital comes to India, then it is expected that India's business sector will do better in near future. Because we all know that foreign direct investment will not only augment capital formation, but also act as a vehicle for technology upgradation, skill development, job creation, export promotion, and the improvement of the overall competitiveness of the economy. So we can say that this would be a huge opportunity for India in the post-COVID era. And if we grab this opportunity, then we can say that at least a considerable number of years would belong to India at the global stage. That means India's business sector will do better in near future. So this is our expectation, this is our anticipation, this is our prediction. We all know that the success of any prediction or projection depends on certain factors. Today, before concluding my discussion, I have to mention one very important factor in the context of Indian economy. Very important factor, vital factor. In this context, we can mention the name of famous social and political theorist, Professor John Elster, Professor of Political Science, Columbia University. And we must mention his classic entitled The Cement of Society, a Study of Social Order. According to his famous book, any prediction or any projection can be successfully achieved if proper cooperation is there. That means if proper cooperation among the stakeholders, namely bureaucrats, administrators, political personalities, is present in the economy, then only any prediction or any projection can be successfully achieved. In this context, we can also mention the name of famous British-born economic geographer and distinguished professor of anthropology and geography at the City University of New York, Professor David Harvey. Professor David Harvey has given emphasis on collective efforts and collective response in order to combat the situation arising out of COVID-19 outbreak in the global economy. He has published one article in Jacobin. Jacobin is a famous magazine in US. Professor Harvey has published one article in Jacobin on 3rd June 2020. I have to mention the title of his famous article. We need a collective response to the collective dilemma of coronavirus. We need a collective response to the collective dilemma of coronavirus. Professor Harvey has given emphasis on collective efforts and collective response in order to combat the situation arising out of COVID-19 in the global economy. We all know that collective efforts, collective response, and cooperations all are interdependent and interrelated. So again, we can say that if proper cooperation among the political leaders, bureaucrats, administrators is present in the Indian economy, then only this prediction can be successfully achieved. However, there are certain factors which may hamper, which may hurt the strength of cooperation. In this context, we can mention at least 3 points. And these 3 points are very much present in Indian economy. Number 1, personal ego. This is associated with human behavior. Personal ego of the political leaders, personal ego of the bureaucrats, personal ego of the administrators. So if negative ego takes place, strength of cooperation goes down. Secondly, irregularities and corruptions. If irregularities and corruptions arise, personal interest takes place. As a result, strength of cooperation goes down. And thirdly, irrationalities. This is also associated with human behavior. If we are not rational enough, if we are irrational, obviously the strength of cooperation goes down. So if we minimize the negative impact of these factors, then only the strength of cooperation will go up. So if the strength of cooperation restores, if strength of cooperation enhances, then only this prediction can be successfully achieved. And if it happens, then it is expected that India's business sector will do better in near future. So with this hope, I'm concluding my discussion. Thank you very much. I must convey my heartfelt thanks and sincere regards to Dr. R.P. Pawar, Honorable Principal of this esteemed institution. And especially I must mention the name of Professor Manish Amrute, my beloved Manish Amrute. So who have given me an opportunity to deliver a lecture in this webinar. Thank you very much. Thank you all. Namaskar.
Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable information. Now, I request to Varsha Poddar ma'am for vote of thanks.
Good morning, one and all. I am Varsha Poddar and I am here to present vote of thanks on behalf of Department of Commerce and Management Science of Shiv Chhatrapati College, Aurangabad. I would like to thank our honorable guest of Debashish Sur sir for enlightening us with their knowledge. Today's webinar was full of knowledge and insightful. I am pretty sure that precious knowledge that Mr. Sur gave us will definitely help in our studies and future aspects. Once again, I would like to thank Dr. Debashish Sur sir for taking out time from their busy schedule and enlightening with a knowledge. Thank you so much, sir. I would also like to thank our principal, Dr. R.P. Pawar sir, for giving permission to organize this webinar. I also like to thank our vice principal, Dr. S.D. Rajmane ma'am, and Mr. Bharat Vahatwe sir, and HOD, Mr. Nitin Gaikwad sir. Last but not least, I would like to thank all faculty members of Shiv Chhatrapati College and all students present here for paying your attention. With the permission of principal and chair, I would declare that webinar is finished. Now you may leave the meeting. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Namaskar. Thank you.
Devashi sir, thank you so much. Namaskar.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I must convey my heartfelt thanks to your principal, sir, and his associates who have given me an opportunity to act as resource person in this webinar. And special thanks to you and your colleagues. Thank you. Namaskar. Namaskar to all.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.